Hello, thank you very much for having me. I'm Laura-Solmaz Litschel and I'm a research fellow and PhD candidate in an international research project which is called Night Spaces, Migration, Culture and Integration in Europe. We are funded by the Humanities in the European Research Area Network, which consists of 26 national funding agencies, and we conduct research in England, Ireland, Portugal, the Netherlands and Germany, mostly on different matters of nightlife and migration. I am based at the Institute for Migration Studies in Berlin at Humboldt University and at the Center for Digital Cultures at Leuphana University, Lüneburg. We conduct research on nocturnal platform labor in Berlin, for example on package delivery services, food delivery services, or mobility services like e-scooter and bike rechargement or Uber, for example. My lecture today has the title The New Old Normal, Nocturnal Platform Labor under COVID-19 Conditions in Berlin. Berlin city residents find themselves subject to a variety of measures while simultaneously coping with the effects of the pandemic. In many places, nighttime curfews are imposed, bars are closed, and new laws are adopted to minimize activities in public space. As restaurants, stores or cinemas are of little to no use, tourism is in massive decline, and Berlin's nightlife patterns are also diminishing. We are beginning to recognize the relevance of platform workers who, as social figures, have been shaping nighttime urban space for a long time. Anyone standing at Berlin's Gendarmenmarkt or Cottbuser Tor at night, as we did during our field research, will not find themselves surrounded by crowds of night owls, as was the case a year ago, but rather by those who cannot stay at home. These are homeless people, bottle collectors, but also nocturnal platform workers who deliver food or packages or are on their way to collect and maintain the many mobility services of the so-called smart city, such as electric scooters or rental bikes. The nighttime use of digitalized mobility infrastructures and services, as well as the nighttime shopping of products, have been shaping our urban everyday life for some time now. The pandemic has accelerated the demand for and satisfaction of numerous needs of countless city residents who have stayed at home 24 hours a day. Takeaway from one's favorite restaurant, having books for this evening's reading group delivered, or just getting from A to B safely without relying on public transportation. There's an app for that and for everything else. And with it emerges the constant demand for platform labor. In these times of hard lockdown, there are also occasional sharp drops in demand for certain platform-based services, such as e-scooters. However, job ads from subcontractors of the big electric scooter and package delivery companies continue to be placed during the lockdown on platforms such as eBay Kleinanzeigen, which is quite big here in Germany, and subsequently new hires are constantly being made. This phenomenon indicates that many of the platform workers who initially lost their jobs moved to their next job. It is precisely these digital day laborers who serve as a relief valve for losses of the economic downturn. Only their flexibility and their crisis-like self-entrepreneurship make it possible to maintain the offerings. What does COVID-19 mean for the mobile platform workers themselves? How do they bear the social risk? Here are two quotes from e-scooter rechargers called juicers. In connection with the corona pandemic, Did you have any difficulties or breakdowns? No, no drivers are always needed. Do you feel that Corona makes it harder to find work? I will tell you honestly, I also found work easily during the Corona period. I mean, people are always after their money. They want to keep making money. They don't care about Corona. That's why it continued to be no problem for me to find a job. Their views contain resignation, but also a surprising perspective. Our field research showed that some of their interviewees lost their jobs at the beginning of the pandemic. For example, they worked for a subcontractor as e-scooter chargers who was destroyed by the crisis. However, they did not consider it to have a drastic effect on their careers. One reason for this can be found in the often years-long experience of extremely volatile working conditions in the platform sector, where precarious conditions and multiple jobs have long been the norm. Our interviewees not only work for subcontractors of the e-scooter provider Lime collecting their scooters, they use the same van beforehand or simultaneously to provide moving services via the platform My Hammer, a platform where one finds moving helpers among other things. Or they deliver packages during the day, and at night they use the same DPD delivery vehicle to collect a few e-scooters. These are just two examples from our research. We can speak of a low threshold platform work, in which precarization already was extremely high anyway, irrespective of the pandemic. Strolling through the empty streets of Berlin during the pandemic, we see the platform workers more clearly than usual. At any time of the day or night, they drive through the city in delivery trucks. Massive time pressure, varying piece rates beyond the minimum wage, and unhealthy long working hours have not been fundamentally changed by the pandemic. They have long navigated flexibly back and forth between platforms and different jobs. Relying on just one job was not an option for many even before the pandemic. One often can't endure the disastrous working conditions for long, and job security is rarely a given. The digital day laborers earn their living by working extremely flexibly, evenings, late nights, when most other people are sleeping. Precariousness due to the loss of jobs, general insecurity, and health hazards are characteristics of crisis-ridden self-entrepreneurship. Fragmented, extremely fluid, and often only temporary successive employment relationships. Our interviewees state that our work is always needed, but the work they have access to locks them into precarious living conditions, which are becoming more precarious during COVID-19. State aid does not benefit them here as it does not benefit them elsewhere. Thus, while the impact of the global pandemic is for many people an extreme decrease in their livelihoods, and they only see the outlines of a new normal, what we are now experiencing seems to be the old normal for many platform workers. The bankruptcy of smart economy companies deprived of venture capital and the daily demise of individual subcontractors in the field of the platform economy is experienced by platform workers as that of going from one day to the next, no longer being able to reach their bosses by the phone. Meanwhile, their last paycheck dwindles, while at the same time some platform companies achieve record profits due to the crisis. Thank you very much for listening.